Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone in the franchise world. My name is Paul Segreto, and this is Franchise Today. Definitely some exciting times going on in franchising, just coming out of the recently completed IFA Convention. Last week, Nancy Weingartner, executive editor of Franchise Times, was on, gave her a little bit of her insight into the convention. And today we also have Therese Thilgen, the president and co-founder of the Franchise Update Media Group. Before I formally introduce Therese to today's show, I want to give everybody an update of the upcoming shows on Franchise Today. Today is the last in our five-part segment, The Voices of Franchising. We started off with Joel Labava, and then we had Nick Powell. We followed up with a great show with Steve Caldera, the IFA president and CEO, and, of course, Nancy was last week and Therese this week. Really a great series. Just want to remind everybody that Franchise Today shows are all available on demand at blogtalkradio.com/Franchise Today Show. Next week, my guest will be Ron Feldman, CEO at Franchise America Finance, as we start our two-part Franchise Finance series. The next week, my guest will be Sandy Shoemaker. So we really got a great two-part segment on franchise finance. Following up with that, we'll have three segments on multi-unit franchising. My guests will be Mary Kennedy Thompson, the recent Bonnie Levine Award winner at the IFA, and, of course, she's with the Dwyer Group. I'll also have Bob Gappa as my guest, and we're trying to get somebody in from Jersey Mike's as well for the multi-unit franchising segment. Then, of course, April and May, as we've done for the last 3 years, this will be our fourth annual franchise legal series. It'll be 8 weeks of some of the most compelling information to come your way from the greatest minds in the legal field with respect to franchising. Some of our guests will be Lane Fisher, Lee Plave, Warren Lee Lewis, Amy Chang, and a host of others. And that'll take us all the way through the IFA Legal Symposium in Washington, D.C. at the end of May. So that's 8 weeks in a row of our fourth annual legal series. Then in June, we will start out with technology and franchising and wrap up the month with some franchise sales and development segments. And then, of course, the summertime is really starting to shape up well. It's our first annual Franchisor Spotlight series. We'll do 9 weeks in a row of Franchisor Spotlight, specifically from the perspective of best practices and how best practices help those brands to grow. So staying in tune with our objective on Franchise Today, it's non-promotional. It's entirely how best practices come into the equation and how organizations and brands are using best practices. And in September, the entire month will be around the Public Affairs Conference in Washington, D.C., and then in October and November, we'll be centering our entire show around the Franchise Update Leadership Conference, as well as the Franchise West Coast Franchise Expo, which is in Anaheim. And then, of course, we're at the end of the year, and we'll do a recap of the year. And we are also planning 8 to 10 more special segments throughout the year. One of them will be from Chicago at the Dealmakers Summit at the end of August. So really an exciting time. Don't forget Ron Feldman next Thursday at 11 a.m. Central Time on Franchise Today as we start our two-part franchise finance series. Of course, we do have to extend congratulations again to IFA Entrepreneur of the Year, Peter Cancro at Jersey Mike's. Really a tremendous story. Peter has committed to be on Franchise Today, and we're trying to work that out because he has decided that he wants to sit across the desk from me, from Jersey boy to New York boy, and hash it out. So I really look forward to that. Peter, my game is on, as I know yours is as well. Well, of course, if anybody's been involved in franchising as long as I have, you, of course, know all about Franchise Update. I remember it from way back when. It's been around for a long time, and I'm really honored to have as my guest today Therese Thilgen, the president and co-founder of Franchise Update Media Group, which, of course, also houses franchising.com, Franchise Update Magazine, and, of course, some really great conferences. Therese, welcome to Franchise Today.
Thank you, Paul. It's an honor for me to be here.
See, we thought, an hour would be too long, and yet I blabbered on for 5 minutes just in introduction. Well, certainly exciting time, and it was great seeing you, as always, out at the IFA Convention. I did get a glimpse of Gary walking by, did run into Steve Olson, and had a good conversation there. And it really is an exciting time for franchising, and I think there was more of a positive vibe, enthusiasm at the event. What was your take on it?
Yeah, there's no question about it. I mean, I understand that there were over 3,000 people at the show, which I believe is a record setter, from franchisors, longstanding franchisors, younger franchisors, a number of suppliers that recognize the power for their brands in this space. And I guess I would preface this, we're this discussion with the fact that as a media company, we get press releases from franchisor organizations as they're coming out of the chute, as they're reinventing themselves. There are a variety of themes behind the press releases. But, going back 5 years ago, when the economy crashed, there really was a slowdown in the number of press releases that were coming in. And I would say it's been about 8 months now that there has just been a tremendous surge of press releases that are coming in from franchisors, that are brand spanking new franchisors, number one. Just a flurry of them. And that's exciting news. I think that bodes well for not only franchising, but the economy, that there is at least some level of optimism, that now is the time to build my franchise, and that there are people out there, if they've done their due diligence, right, that can afford to become a franchisee of my brand, so on and so forth. So I think the point is the IFA, the attendance at the IFA and the optimism there mirrored everything that we've been saying.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember just 4 short years ago when we were in San Antonio for the IFA event. I think it was one of the lowest turnouts in history. I think it was somewhere around 22 or 2,300. And it really just was doom and gloom. So many people walking with their heads low, and it was really a bad time. And certainly it's nice to see the enthusiasm coming back.
Definitely.
What really was exciting too, obviously, and of course I haven't seen the official tally, but I actually heard that it was close to 3,500, which would really be extraordinary. But I was amazed at the crowds in the exhibit hall, the excitement, the new vendors coming in. It just seemed like everybody was really in a buying mode, and not just buying, obviously, for the sake of just buying, but talking about new technology, making the steps towards investing in the technology that will help them take their organization to a new level. New organizations looking at technology unlike I've ever seen before, and certainly in this day and age. And you probably see this maybe even more than anybody, being a media group that had a long-standing print publication and so much going to digital. What's your take on technology and franchising today?
Well, you're talking to someone, when my husband and I launched Franchise Update Media Group, we were typesetting. So things certainly have come a very long way. having been to an exhibitor at the IFA Convention now for it's 23 or 24 years in a row, without a doubt, I think we have seen the increase, the predominant increase of suppliers they are in the technology space, be they lead generation technologies, be they marketing technologies, you name it. That's the name of the game. And there are so many opportunities, geosites, et cetera, for not only these technology companies to provide really important services to franchisors and their franchisees, but for franchisors and their franchisees to gain efficiencies as a direct result of technology today. And
sure.
I don't see that slowing down in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, that is really it's something that I've seen continue to grow. Spending a lot of time in the technology space, I seem probably to get more involved in it than many on the franchisor and supplier side. You mentioned, 20-plus years in a row coming to the event. Obviously, you've seen a lot of people come and go. You've seen a lot of organizations, grow to tremendous heights, and you've seen a lot of leaders in the franchise community. And I think we would be remiss in not mentioning, Sid Feltenstein, the award winner of the Hall of Fame award by the
Absolutely.
IFA. And I'm sure you've had some interaction over the years with him. Can you give us a little bit of insight into that?
I met Sid on a number of occasions over the years, and I've been proud to have at least been able to shake his hands. He is a legacy in franchising and has done so much as a business leader, and is extremely well respected. Not only
Absolutely.
Having grown and been a CEO of a number of companies, and now he is sharing or chairman of the board and then the board of directors of a number of other franchisors. And I just know that as a big thinker, a strategic thinker who really understands franchising, he really has always wanted to do the right thing and has done the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you, when he had to step in on the last day for John Luther, who couldn't be at the IFA event because of, family circumstances, Sid stepped right in, and I was really amazed. I felt like this is a man that could have easily and certainly did a better job at the recent Academy Awards if he was he was tremendous.
Yes, he's a natural. He's a natural in front
sure
of people as well, and that's a gift.
Yeah, I could have sat there a lot longer listening to him. He's really, his delivery is just tremendous. And of course, speaking about a tremendous delivery, I thought Condoleezza Rice did just a remarkable job. Yeah,
unreal.
Really,
she was
fantastic.
Just fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I often marvel when somebody like that, when she's asked a question, she says, okay, I can answer it 3 points, 1, 2, 3, and she does it. When I get to number 3, I'm like, what was number 3? So, yeah, she was so polished. She was great, and I loved her comments about children and education, and make them practice more, make them study more. It's not enough just to attend and get an award. Make them earn it. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, everything she hit on, world affairs, I think in particular, was pretty profound. I have to say, having been to probably more IFA conventions than most, that she probably is in my top 3 in terms of presenter, and her messaging, her delivery, just was top notch.
Yeah, she was fantastic, and I think maybe the thing was, she just had no hidden agenda. She was there just to say her piece, and it was really, really great. And And this year's award winners, of course, too. Mary from the Dwyer Group, we're receiving the Bonnie Levine Award, and I'm anxious to have Mary on in a few weeks. She's just fantastic. Yeah,
well.
I love the fact that she walked to the middle of the stage and gave her acceptance speech as opposed to from a podium. That just, to me, exudes just a tremendous amount of confidence.
Yes. And, she's a Marine. And she has an amazing history, and I know has again been a powerful leader within the Dwyer Group. And it's an organization that I so respect as well.
Oh yeah, we've had Dina Dwyer-Owens on in the past after she was on CBS Undercover Boss. I think that's been 4 CBS Undercover Boss alumni, we'll call them. We had Dina, we had Shelley Sun, we've had Catherine Monson, and of course most recently we had Stephen Greenbaum. And just tremendous being able to have them share their experience. And of course, first of all, just watching them on TV and watching them share their experience is just, to me, remarkable. And Dina has agreed to be back on Franchise Today on July 11th as part of our Franchisor Spotlight Series, and I'm real excited to have her back on. And of course, I didn't think she had to twist Mary's on, but certainly I'm sure she put in a good word for the show, and Mary has agreed to be on the show as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. Well.
Dina is really someone that I admire. I've known Dina for years, and she keeps moving it forward. She probably, in my opinion, I think many others would agree with me, she is such a culture person. Mm-hmm. And, the health and well-being of everyone in her organization is something she does not take lightly. And as a matter of fact, she's going to be on a power panel at our upcoming multi-unit conference on the subject of private equity and, how that impacts a franchisor's culture when they bring private equity in, to help finance their growth and do other great things, where the discussion is really going to surround what happens to everybody else, what happens to the franchisees along the way if you've got a commitment to a private equity company. And we reached out to her knowing that she has been through that process. And, we value her opinions on selecting the right private equity company versus the wrong private equity company. Mm-hmm. Really a best practices type program.
Yep.
So we're lucky that that she's going to be joining us as well.
She certainly is very giving of her experience and her time, and I look forward to seeing her there as well. And I love the way Mary referred to her as the godmother of franchising. I don't think there's a more fitting term for her than that.
Perfect.
That was great.
I'm writing that down right now. The godmother of franchising. Perfect.
Godmother of franchising. I think that's just absolutely wonderful. And, along those lines, I am just marveling at the talent of women leaders in franchising. Is just been phenomenal. I mean, obviously, Dina, Mary, Shelley Sun, Catherine Monson, Barb Moran. There's just so many of them just bringing such great passion, great drive, great motivation. But I think what really resonates very well with them, not that some of their male counterparts haven't done it, but I think they actually take culture to a new level, which is something you just touched on with Dina. They really seem to have a burning passion when it comes to culture.
I would agree. And having been involved in different organizations of women business leaders, that always is a point of emphasis. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I think it's helping women achieve many more of their goals in terms of being a bigger part of the C-suites, not only in franchising, but other organizations as well. So it's all good.
Yeah, it's really good. Matter of fact, one I definitely would be remiss in not mentioning is Susan Blackbeth, who I've referred to on the show before as the franchising energizer bunny. She does so much. She's always speaking. She's always doing this. She's on panels. She's at events. And then, of course, she raises a family. And, you know what, I'll squeeze in some time and do a couple of triathlons beside.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly. I know.
Remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. Well, we are live today on Franchise Today. My guest is Therese Thilgen from Franchise Update Media Group. I would like to shout out to our strategic partner in PR and marketing, Fishman Public Relations. Really has been a great partnership with Sherry and Brad and Deborah Vilchis and the team over at Fishman, and always like to give them a shout-out as well. And a matter of fact, I know you know Brad and Sherry quite well. Been around a long time in franchising. Really great people and certainly great leaders in franchising, and certainly give back a great deal to franchising, which, of course, I always marvel. And when I talk about giving back, one name that always comes to mind is got to be Lane Fisher. What he's done with the membership committee as the lead, as the chair of the membership committee, and I do sit on the membership committee with him. I just marvel at the energy that man has. And, of course, in receiving the first annual Sid Feltenstein Award last year and being so instrumental in driving so much of the revenue into FranPac is just absolutely extraordinary.
I salute Lane and both Sherry and Brad. I've known all of them for many years and call all of them close friends. And it's been an honor for me as well to know them. And we've all kind of grown up together in franchising.
Sure.
And we've, you know, I think I've been in it maybe 5 years longer than all of them. I'm dating myself, but we have all grown up together.
That's only because you started at 18, Therese.
That's why. Yeah, that's why. But it's to watch, you know, what they've accomplished over the last 20 plus years is remarkable. They've stayed very focused, close to the industry, and you know, both of their organizations have just continued to grow. And I expect that there's no slowing down.
Yeah, I don't think so. And in very, very competitive spaces, they just keep, you know, rising to the top, along with that old adage, the cream rises to the top, and they certainly are the cream in franchising, and they've done a great job. And again, give back so much. Not just, you know, for their own company, but, you know, always willing to talk to everybody and anybody at any time, always looking to share information, doing whatever they can. I don't think the word no is in any of their vocabularies.
Yeah, and I think, you know, what you're pointing out is something that is really paramount in franchising, period. There is a close community of people in franchising that have been around a long time, even those that are, you know, have been coming into it over the more recent years, where sharing is a big part of it. Even competitors sharing with competitors, you know, not the proprietary, you know, secret sauces of their brands, but the sharing so that we all move franchising forward, that we all improve it and do the best, you know, we can to keep franchising as a you know, a method of business strategy for growth, that we keep it continuing for the benefit of franchisees, for the American economy, and for those of us as business owners that make a living in franchising.
Absolutely. So having been in franchising as long as you have, what do you see? I mean, you've seen a lot. You've seen, you know, several ups and downs. You've seen various legislation come out across various different states. You've seen, you know, a couple of recessions. what are your thoughts moving forward? What do you see on the horizon for franchising? And let's just call it over the next 3 to 5 years.
Well, I think that, I'm being a little retrospective here. I think we're going to continue to see growth regardless of the economic condition. The healthcare issue, which is huge, the healthcare. I think we are going to continue to see growth simply because, America still is the free enterprise world, and there are still so many individuals that still have the dream to own their own businesses. And corporate America is certainly not a secure place to be anymore,
no.
and hasn't been for quite a while. So I think that we're still going to see growth because of the desire and the demands of people out there wanting their own businesses. Now, the kicker is there money for it? I think that's still going to be a challenge. We've seen things loosen up, but I think that there are creative financing options going out in the world right now, crowdsourcing and different things. So I think we're going to see some evolution in the way businesses, franchises in particular, are financed. I think we're going to see, switching gears here a little bit, I think we're going to see a number of franchisors go away. Those that are, and this is a trend that, I personally followed for years. I actually started in franchising 33 years ago. Gary and I started Franchise Update Media Group 25 years ago. And, way back when, there weren't, of course, as many franchisors as there are today. But what people really don't talk about is the churn factor of franchisors. Those that come out of the chute thinking they're going to blaze every trail, and then they don't realize really the responsibility, the financial requirements, and the commitment to building a franchise organization. So I can look back at, be it an IFA source book, their franchise opportunity guide, and other guides and printouts I have from the Department of California Corporations going way back when. And the vast majority of franchisors that were around them aren't franchising anymore. Some of them may still have pockets of franchisees in different regions, but they had somewhere along the line made the decision not to franchise anymore. So with this robust number of new franchisors coming out of the chute, which is exciting, okay, there is going to be a percentage of them. And I think it'll be a fair percentage that over the next 5 years, we'll see a number of them won't be franchising anymore. My message there is to these franchisors is know what you're getting into, right? And to prospective franchise buyers is to thoroughly do your research on the leadership of, these new franchisors' teams. Investigate them very thoroughly in addition to the market space that they are in. And the competitive environment and where this company is going to take them. So, again, that's something we don't hear a lot about. We all study and the franchisee. The fact that franchisees have a greater chance of success than individual business owners. And I totally agree with that, and the numbers support that. But I think it's franchisors that are making big commitments to become franchisors. I don't think all of these folks really understand,
how
big it is.
You're right. It is big. It's more competitive than ever before, and of course, adding in the digital mix and social media, things are looked at in real time by consumers and franchise candidates alike. So the learning curve needs to be a lot shorter. Because they'll be left in the dust, and of course, as industry segments grow and get oversaturated, that's also going to kick out some from the franchising model as well. You know, to use kind of paraphrase a little bit, Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz when she said, you know, lions and tigers and bears, oh my. We titled today's show, Magazines, Portal, and Conferences, oh my. And certainly you and Gary 25 years ago, and maybe I'm wrong in this. I mean, did you? So let me rephrase it. You know, did you see where Franchise Update Media Group would evolve back from 25 years ago as a monthly magazine publication?
Oh, we're a completely different company, and I think that. When digital publishing came around years and years and years ago, we were on it. We were very excited about it. And I think, what hasn't changed is our being an information provider of best practices, to the different market segments within franchising. And we do very much break out the niches within franchising, be they franchisors that sell, that the sales department, the consumer marketing departments, the C-suite. Then we have our target audience of multi-unit franchisees, which was another trend I was going to address, and I'll address it in a moment. But so we address our niches, and now we have the opportunity, instead of just reaching them through one channel, print, we can reach them every way that they want to reach. Not to say it hasn't always been a challenge, embracing the technologies to get there, but we see the opportunity and have always been enthusiastic about, having that, the ability to reach them via email, via e-newsletters, via conferences, now, mobile, getting everything set up on the mobile, right, webinars, you name it, and still with the delivery of print, because print still counts. And it's if you identify, you talk to the folks the way they want to be talked to, the way they want to be reached, and we have to give them the opportunity to respond back. So, yeah, we are a different company. On the trend side of things, couple of things that I will say is, conferences and big shows were down for a number of years, and all of the media you hear, conferences are going to be extinct because everybody, nobody needs to fly here or there anymore, pay for the hotel rooms. They can do it all digitally via webinars, online expos, etc. And what's happened is actually the reverse. Expos and conferences over the last couple of years are at all-time highs in franchising. People want the FaceTime. I think, there's such a deluge of, all of this computer and cell phone, that we're not we're connected, but we're not talking literally face-to-face, that we all like that FaceTime. We want to shake hands with our existing customers, with new customers. We want to touch and feel a little bit more. So without a doubt, I think we're going to continue to see the uptick there. So moving forward, I think that's exciting for all of us.
Absolutely.
In terms of the multi-unit side of the business, big trend is, when I started in the business, even going back 20 years ago, was still predominantly mom and pop ownership, franchisees. And as a result of, first big recession we were in, which was 20 plus years ago, that's where the golden parachutes were handed out, and a lot of these folks that were educated coming from corporate America, white collar, took their packages and invested in franchising. So we really saw a paradigm shift in who the quote unquote franchise candidate was, and it was new.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these folks that have had and still have marketing experience, management experience, sales experience, etc., started evolving their franchises from just one to more than one. So we saw a lot more multi-unit franchisee owners. At the same time, there were a lot of folks, franchisees that have been in franchising that started as mom and pops that were very successful in their markets, and more by accident, not by design, started adding units and more units. And then oftentimes, if they maxed out in an environment, started adding other brands. So now what's happened, and Daryl Johnson, from Fran Data has tracked the hard numbers on this, of the franchising world in the United States, of franchisees, I think we're up to 55% now are owned by multi-unit franchises.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a big trend.
And it's a big trend. And I don't think we're going to see that slowing down. Even with the health care, the new act, there are a lot of challenges out there right now for small business owners like us and multi-unit franchisees that employ hundreds, some of them thousands of people. There might be a little bit of slowdown maybe in new store openings until they can figure all of this out. But I think multi-unit franchising is going to be an ongoing trend. And finally, my last comment is younger folks getting into franchising. As we study and profile a lot of multi-unit franchisees, it's amazing at the number of younger folks that are getting into it. I'm talking in their 20s, right? In their early 30s, that are jumping in, getting their support, their financing, be it from family or from maybe something that happened, a great situation that happened with them in a high-tech firm, right, where they made all that stock. But we're going to see, a growing number of younger folks come into the space and continue to grow as multi-unit franchisees. And this is where, boy, we better all be following the technologies that we need to help drive and grow our businesses, because they all bring that to the table.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Several points that I was thinking of as you were talking, because, I remember as far back as I can remember in franchising, just waiting anxiously for the next issue of Franchise Update. And it all was about the content. The content was great. It's still great to this day. And I think where we saw some of the dip, where some of the trade shows and the conferences kind of wane a little bit, was, I think, because in general people were just tired of the same regurgitation. And I've got to say, from your conferences, that is certainly not the case. I mean, I attended last year's multi-unit franchising conference in Las Vegas and was just absolutely blown away. And, yeah, there was excitement. There was a lot of enthusiasm there. But the content is really what took it over the edge for me. And that continued as I went to the Leadership and Development Conference in Buckhead in October. Absolutely fantastic. Kudos to you and Gary, Steve, and the rest of your team, because that is what gets people to keep coming back. It's content, and yours is over the top.
Thanks, Paul. Content is king, and we're so lucky. We have a great team, a very dedicated team, and I'm proud of all of them and everything that they do. we're managing. We're not a huge company, but we're a company that manages a lot of big content, and that is always our focus. And I guess the other thing is, and it's kudos to all of the franchisors and multi-unit franchisees that we have as a part of our advisory boards. They are really the ones that we listen to, so that they're the ones. If we're going to have a conference for multi-unit franchisees, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need to know the content that they want, that
exactly.
will help them grow and improve their businesses. So we have 30 multi-unit franchisees on our advisory board, and we do, drill down session every year and come up with a plan. And our leadership and development conference, we have an advisory board of stellar vice presidents of development that guide us, right? And then for our new consumer marketing conference, franchise consumer marketing conference, we have about 15 CMOs from, they're the best and the brightest from their franchisor brands, and they lead the content in terms of, what it is that's important to them. So, it's an effort that is shared by many, and when the successes come, everyone should be able to share in their in those successes too.
Absolutely. So let's break it down one conference at a time. We have multi-unit conference coming up in Las Vegas at the end of March. And explain a little bit for anybody that hasn't yet attended the multi-unit franchising conference what they would be able to expect should they attend.
First and foremost, the content is tailored exclusively for multi-unit franchisees that are, wanting to improve what it is they're doing, validate what they're doing, and who are also growth-oriented. Growth-oriented in terms of their single brand, the brand or brands that they're already in, or if they want to look at other brands and learn how to build infrastructure, select the brands, etc. We have all of that built in content-wise. And I guess, right now we have about 80 multi-unit franchisees on the program that have been in the game a long time. And these are folks that will share their knowledge, their experiences with other multi-unit franchisees. And, of course, as an open conference, we have a ton of franchisors that come and some suppliers. And we right now, I think, have already 900 people registered. We'll end up with 12 to 1,300 people. Every year we experience about 15 to 20% growth on the conference. We have an exhibit hall that we sold out on that has 200-plus sponsors in it, a combination. The greater majority are franchisors that are seeking other multi-unit franchisees that are looking for brands, additional brands. And then we have a number of phenomenal suppliers that also have products and services for franchisees and franchisors. Did that do it?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, tremendous event. I was blown away last year. Great speakers, the CEO of Dunkin' Donuts, your keynote speaker, and I always forget her name, was just phenomenal.
Well, we had Jim Collins last year, who wrote Good to Great, Great by Choice, who was just over-the-top phenomenal. Yeah. And this year we have, I'm excited about Peter Guber. He just wrote a great book called Tell to Win, which is how I found him. He's a movie producer. He was the CEO of Sony. He actually produced The Color Purple, Rain Man, a bunch of others. He owns The Warriors, and the guy's a true entrepreneur. And after reading his book, that's why we decided to select him. It's about telling. He'll talk about how to tell your story to evolve your brand, how critical it is to tell the right story to even get off the mark. And then I'm super excited about Mark Kelly, the astronaut. And, Kathy Giffords, did I get that right? Kathleen Gifford, right? Who was, in that tragic shooting, et cetera. He's an amazing guy and a war hero, astronaut, et cetera. So we're really lucky to get him, in addition to all of the other, stellar panelists like Dina Dwyer, Stuart Mathis, CEO of Quiznos, Catherine Bill Martin from the CEO of Interim Healthcare, and then all of these multi-unit franchisees. So you can tell I'm excited.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. As you should be. When you talk about, the young people coming up and becoming franchisees, of course, we're also starting to see more and more some of these powerful multi-unit franchisees actually becoming franchisors too. And of course, couldn't not talk about multi-unit franchising and mention, Aziz Hashim, just tremendous talent and just a great story. I mean, there's so much going on in multi-unit franchising. I mean, I've said it for the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, to me, that is the future of franchising.
Yeah, and we're lucky. Aziz has been on our advisory board, and he's actually our 2014 chairman. And he has brought a lot to the table.
Oh, yeah.
With his experience, his intellect, and his innate ability to really harness the issues, and drive solutions.
Right, absolutely. So then so what are the dates of multi-unit?
We have a golf tournament on the 26th, and at Arroyo Canyon, I think it is. Then we have the 27th, 28th. We wrap up on the morning of the 29th. And, we have 3 full days. Again, lots of quality time also with the exhibitors. And I'm also excited about the closing morning, Friday morning. We have Russ Umfenauer leading a program on, great brands equal great franchisees. He was the largest Arby's franchisee with 700 some odd units.
Wow.
He started working in the stores, right? And evolved into, the 800-pound gorilla of franchisees, and he sold those off, I want to say about 7 years ago, and is now the CEO of Focus Brands. And, so now he, is a franchisor, and I think, having been a franchisee, that's his guidepost, he says. So we're going to learn a lot from him on the Friday morning.
Yeah, I imagine so. That'll be great. So then we finish up there, and then we have the Consumer Marketing Conference. Explain a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was paramount, I think, or it was one of those things, where you have an aha moment. About 4 or 5 years ago, with all of the rapid changes in technology, social media in particular, all of this SEO, search, et cetera, and, we've been watching in the development side of the space all of the changes going on, and we're like, wow, CMOs, franchisors, organizations, they've got to have a lot of challenges, on their plate in terms of, managing all of these different channels. But years ago it was radio, TV, print, honestly, right? And now there are too many channels to even count, and that they need to be on top of. So we started calling some of these folks that we knew, where do you get the information you need? And we realized there was just a huge void. So that is how we, came to the decision to introduce the franchise consumer marketing conference. And, we did that when the economy was still, we had our first one 2 years ago, and we're having our third in June. And, the first year we had a boutique crowd. Second year we doubled attendance. This year, at the rate we're going, we feel that we're going to double attendance again. And the focus is on consumer marketing issues, what franchisors, especially their CMOs, need to be aware of, best practices in terms of everything from engagement of the franchisee to execute marketing locally. The parent-child type of technologies that are out there for brand management. How to manage social media, especially, bad social media. It runs the whole gamut. It's huge. I think these folks have the biggest jobs, more on their plates than you can possibly imagine now knowing what we know. So we're pretty excited about that. And that's going to be held at the Ritz-Carlton end of June.
Right, and
in Atlanta,
that'll be
in the Buckhead.
In Atlanta, right? Yeah. So anybody that was planning on going to the San Francisco area, it has changed this year. It's in Buckhead, and the Ritz-Carlton is just a tremendous venue. And of course, in Buckhead, you also have the Leadership and Development Conference, which last year was just extraordinary. And if you could tell us a little bit of a peek into that great event as well, which is also in Buckhead, but that's in October, correct?
It is, and I think it's gained the reputation of being the place to not only network with your franchise development sales peers, but to learn the best practices. And I think we bring the cream of the crop in. It's the one place where you have franchise development people together, focused on improving, understanding, learning best practices in terms of driving their recruitment efforts. And we do a lot of mystery shopping of all of the brands there, and we release a lot of that data there for benchmarking purposes. So it's one I always look forward to. That's our longest running conference. We've made so many friends that we get to see every year, and again, it's always one we all look really forward to. And we have a lot. I'll give you a little tip this year. Our theme is Fast Times at Franchise High, and we actually have Judge Reinhold coming.
Wow.
We're going to have a little bit of fun. Yeah,
that's great.
You're the first to know. You're the first to know. That's our theme.
Yeah, you've heard it here on Franchise Today. That's wonderful. Well, I certainly look to seeing you and Gary and Steve at all three of these conferences.
Terrific.
Franchising.com, as we start closing in on the end of the show.
Right.
We've really seen a nice involvement going there, weekly newsletters going out. Give us a little bit of thought as to what we can expect moving forward with Franchising.com.
Franchising.com is a single portal that has all of our different what am I trying to say, niches, right?
Mm-hmm.
Broken out on the site. And so if you're a franchise, opportunity seeker, we have 70,000 pages practically. We have so much content. Everything that you can find there in any form that you can find. We have a site in franchising.com, a portal within a portal, actually, for franchisors that covers everything we do in franchising. So franchisors can go in and educate themselves specifically on, leadership issues, on consumer marketing issues, et cetera. We have a multi-unit franchisee channel, et cetera. One of the things that you're going to continue to see there as it grows, right now I think we're bringing about 150,000 unique visitors a month. It's big traffic. We have a lot of returning visitors as well, but we have a new video channel on there. And video is important to any media company or any brand out there. So you'll see we just launched a new video channel that will house all of our self-developed videos, one on empire builders about multi-unit franchisees. There's another master of franchise development where franchisors are interviewed. And then we are going to be accepting and showing quite a few videos that are going to come in from franchisors, franchisees, et cetera. So we're excited about our movement into that space. We've already gained some headway. Does that answer your question, Paul?
Yeah, and it's really great too that complementing all this, we're seeing more and more emails come out. I know at the end of the week I always look forward to receiving one from franchising.com, and it kind of gives me an overview, and then during the week there's the multi-unit one. So really, content is being delivered tremendously. Again, kudos to you and your team.
And I so appreciate that comment. One of the things that is important, for listeners to know is every press release. We have somebody on that real time. Every press release that comes into us gets posted categorically. So if it's a new store opening, if it's a corporate change, there is a place for everything. So it's almost a regular news feed. And, of course, we have the RSS feeds. But in all of our magazines, you can find digital editions in the appropriate section of every single magazine going back a number of years.
Yeah, it's just great. So, and that is franchising.com. It is the most comprehensive source of franchise information on the web today. It's a resource for, franchise buyers, multi-unit franchisees, franchisors. There's information on franchise opportunities, multi-unit franchising issues, franchise development, consumer marketing, franchise leadership, and franchise law. I would definitely say it's comprehensive.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's been a journey, Paul.
Yeah, it has. This is, but it's been fun, and it definitely has. Franchising has taken care of all of us. And it's great. It's great to see so many people give back. And, to that end, I appreciate you spending the time with me today. I know it's not easy to dedicate an hour away from the daily grind, but I really do appreciate you being here with me today.
I wouldn't have missed it. And, again, thank you for the invitation. It is really appreciated.
Thank you. And, this is Franchise Today. We're wrapping up with Therese Thilgen, the president and co-founder of Franchise Update. He's been a most gracious guest today. And next week, remember, we have Ron Feldman, CEO of Franchise America Finance, as we shift gears out of the Voices of Franchising series and start to focus on franchise finance, and then we'll follow up with that with multi-unit franchising, which will kind of be right around the same time that Franchise Update's multi-unit franchising conference is going on in Las Vegas. I do want to, again, send my special thanks to Fishman Public Relations, our strategic partner in everything marketing and public relations for Franchise Today. We will be announcing soon the schedule for Fran Summit 2013, where we have our third annual Franchise Social Media Summit. We've got quite a program in store, as well as a lot of new things, and you should be seeing that here pretty quick. So, again, remember, next week at 11 a.m. Central, my guest on March 7th will be Ron Feldman, CEO at Franchise America Finance. Until then, my name is Paul Segreto, wishing you the best, the very best in this great thing we call franchising. Franchise Today is out.
When you're part of a military family, you understand sacrifice and support. So at American Public University, we honor your dedication by extending our military tuition savings to your extended family. Parents, spouses, legal partners, siblings, and dependents all qualify for APU's preferred military rate of just $250 per credit hour for undergraduate and master's level programs. American Public University. Value for the whole family. Learn more at apu.apus.edu/military.